And welcome back, Nats fans, to another episode of the DoDcast Postgame Show. I'm your host, District on Deck co-editor Ricky Keeler, as the Washington Nationals snap their 4-game losing streak with a 10-5 win over the Atlanta Braves. They've now scored 10 runs in back-to-back games, and this offense just continues to hit. After a rough weekend series in Texas where the offense just could not find their form, they get Ryan Zimmerman back off the back injury, and Zimmerman doesn't disappoint. Try 3 hits and a couple of home runs. He's now got 19 this season. Atlanta made it interesting, and Joe Ross did not have a great game tonight. But the Nats saw Trevor Gott make his debut, at least for this season. And they got key offensive runs when they needed them. I mean, they finally got to R.A. Dickey in the middle of the game, and that was the difference, really, in this one. So Dusty Baker, the Nats, can breathe a little bit easier tonight, especially after a rough loss last night. It's tough to say a must-win in June when you're got now a 9.5-game lead in the NL East, but this one kind of felt like it a little bit. You would hate to see how low this can spiral down, but the Nats are able to find a way to get a win tonight. We want to hear from you, so if you got any questions or comments, feel free to send them to the chat room here on the YouTube channel. You can tweet me on Twitter at District on Deck or at Rickinator555. So as Ron does, let's go through the totals. Nationals pick up 10 runs on 14 hits. No errors tonight, so defense was better. Especially Daniel Murphy. He plays a great defense. Braves with 5 runs, 13 hits, no errors. Atlanta had a hit in, I think, every inning until, I want to say, the 8th. I don't think they got a hit in. But I know they had a hit in each of the first 6 innings against Joe Ross. So 27 combined hits between the two teams. A lot of offense. And when you got the heat as bad as it's been the last 2 days of the Northeast, you're going to get a lot of offense. Just the way it is. The win goes to Trevor Gott. Picks up his first win of the season. Of course, got called up yesterday. Only faced 2 batters, but hey, you get a win. It's just not, people say kill the win sometimes, but I guess that's maybe the reason why. R.A. Dickey gets the loss. 5 innings, 8 runs, 8 hits, 6 strikeouts. On 80 pitches, 56 strikes. He goes to 4-5. No saves tonight. I'm sure you guys are kind of happy about that. And Eddie Romero, with a really dominant outing, picked up a hold, his 7th of the season. So the Nationals, I like the way they came out early in this game. Picked up 3 runs. I think Dusty made a good move putting Ryan Rayburn in there in left field. Yes, Rayburn usually plays against lefties, and Goodwin had a great game last night, but Rayburn sees the knuckleball well. He picked up a base hit. Actually picked up a triple. Bryce Harper drove them on the ground out, and then you had Ryan Zimmerman and Daniel Murphy go back-to-back. And Anthony Rendon just missed a home run, which would have made it 3-0. Ended up 4-0, actually. Would have ended up striking out, but the Nats got to the big good start they needed. Seth Ross is here. Hey, Seth, how you doing? I know you were here last night, so welcome back. Great win. Let's start a new streak. That's how I think you got to think about it. You got to go out there and try to win the series tomorrow, and if you can do that, you take kind of the sting out of the Texas series out of your mouth, which I think is what this team needed. So they get the 3 runs, but I just never got the sense Joe Ross had his ace stuff tonight. He's battling every inning, got the double plays when he needed it. In fact, the Nationals got 3 double plays in this game. 2 of them started by Daniel Murphy with some fantastic plays. He even started one himself where he made a nice play up the middle. I forget what inning it is. Gets the play up the middle, steps on the second base, and throws to first. And Murphy's not known for his defense, but he found a way to at least contribute in that aspect in addition to his offense. And I've lived in New York. I've seen Murphy with the Mets where his defense cost the Mets a lot of games. I don't think Murphy's been the best second baseman for the Nationals defensively, but I do think he's improved somewhat defensively in the 2 years he's been here. There's at least, he's not going to cost you as many games as he used to with the Mets. That's just how I see it. You can differ if you want, but that's just the way I look at it. But the Braves got the 2 runs back on a 2-run double by Dansby Swanson, who hit the ball hard tonight. I mean, he's had a rough season, but maybe he'll get it going for Atlanta. And then the 6th, he just hung a 86-mile-an-hour pitch right over the plate to Rio Ruiz. So I think both his home runs are against the Nationals this season. The other one came off Scherzer back in May, but he crushed one to right, made it 4-3. Eventually Trevor Gott comes in, gives the base hit to Ender Inciarte. It's 5-3, and you get the sense again. Bullpen letting you down. Gott first 2 pitches, one he crossed Matt Wieters up, but he got out of it. Give him credit. Got Brandon Phillips to ground out to end the night, and then the offense came back. And Ryan Zimmerman again, just getting the job done time and time and time again. But it started really in that 6th inning. When you look back at it, it starts with Rayburn. Picks up a base hit, gets the second because Flowers can't catch the knuckleball. Harper delivers with a base hit. He's now got a 6-game hitting streak, by the way, so good numbers for him lately. And then Zim absolutely tattoos one to left center for a home run, makes it 6-5. He's now got 19 homers, ties Vlad Guerrero for the most by a Nat/Expos player, 234. So congrats to Ryan Zimmerman. Daniel Murphy, then a base hit. Rendon gets hit by a pitch. Braves go to the bullpen. Matt Wieters with a clutch 2-run double to right center. Now, the Nats could have had more. Michael Taylor got picked off first with nobody out. You can't do that. But they were able to at least get a few on the board. Then you tack on a Murphy double in the 7th, a Trey Turner base hit in the 8th, and that's how the Nats get you to 10 runs. And I think the story of this game, where is the other guy? Just wondering. Well, Seth, what you'll find out, I know you're new to the DoDcast, is Ron and I usually switch off on games. So some nights you'll see Ron, some nights you'll see me. Other nights we'll do one together if there's a big game or something like that. But most of the time it's usually one or the other. It's not usually both. But I like the way the offense had their approach tonight. I think you look at a guy like R.A. Dickey, the knuckleball, you can't afford to take pitches with that pitch. If you got a good knuckleball over the plate, you got to attack it. And the Nats did just that. I mean, you look at, I think the guy who saw the most pitches tonight was Trey Turner at 18. So you're not going to get a guy seeing 20 pitches per at-bats because you got to look for the one pitch and hit it. Trey Turner, by the way, tacked on another stolen base. He's now got 22 this year. I usually say let the speed games begin. I didn't think there would be a steal up 5 in the 8th, but it's Trey Turner. I should have known better. Nats went 5 for 11 with men in scoring position. That's always good. Harper's up to 49 RBIs. Zim's up to 52. Murphy's up to 43. Wieters now into the 25 RBI club. And Trey Turner up to 29. So the Nationals, like I said, get the win. They're now 39-25. So they have a chance at win number 40 tomorrow afternoon. Braves drop to 28-36 on the season. Looking at the bullpen, I liked what you saw from Manny Romero tonight. Just went out and threw strikes. 31 pitches, 22 strikes. This is the guy who really is known for being inconsistent. When you look at, he can throw 101, but he can't find the plate half the time. And lately, he's been a lot better. He's not as often going to 100, but that might not be a bad thing. Throw 97 and trust your secondary stuff. It's not, you don't have to exactly light up the radar gun every single pitch to be successful. And I kind of like that Romero sort of changed that approach a little bit. And he's done a good job with it. And I love the intensity, especially at the end of that 8th inning. Definitely love seeing that. Sean Kelly, again, struggled in the 9th, gave up a couple of hits, nearly gave up a 3-run homer to Matt Kemp. And that's why Dusty played the matchups. He went with Oliver Perez to face Matt Adams, who's been having a good series. Perez got the out. And it just shows you where Sean Kelly is right now in the whole grand scheme of things. He's not coming in unless the game's out of hand or you're up 5 runs or you're down 5 runs. That's just where Sean Kelly is right now. And you hate to see that because he was so good for this team last year, but not the case this year by any means. And Seth, you're right. That's what it needs. Throw strikes and see what happens. Exactly. That's what the bullpen needs. You had Trevor Gott tonight, like I said, goes out there, throws first 2 pitches out of the zone, and it leads to a base hit. You have to go out there and throw strike 1. That's how this bullpen's going to get better without adding people right now, because I don't think you can make a big trade. You're going to be paying the moon, and you don't want to pay the moon right now. It's a little bit too early to be paying the moon in prospects and everything like that. So you just got to have the guys go out there and throw strikes. I mean, as long as I think people would be more understandable with the bullpen if they went out and just threw strikes. The problem is they would constantly walk hitters, and when you walk guys, it leads to trouble. You saw that with Joe Ross tonight. Look at his line. 5 2/3, 5 runs, 9 hits, 3 walks, just 2 strikeouts, 102 pitches, 65 strikes. Giving up hits every inning, eventually that's going to hurt you. You can't keep putting guys on second base. Braves, I think, had like 3 doubles at one point through the first 5 innings. if you keep putting guys in scoring position, that's going to backfire on you. And he got away with it a couple of times with some big double plays, but that pitch count kept going up. He doesn't put hitters away because he just didn't have that put away pitch, wasn't hitting the corners. And that's where that backfires, because there are times where Joe Ross looks great, like he did against Baltimore, and there are times where he looks average to below average. I would call tonight and pretty much an average night. Now, the Nats love to score runs for him, but 5 runs in 5 2/3, I need that down to like 3. Like if you give me 3 over 5 plus, and if you're Joe Ross, take it, because he's not used to throwing 102 pitches. So you could argue Dusty could have gone out earlier, but again, you don't trust the bullpen right now, so Ross is going to throw a lot of pitches. That's just the way it goes. So we'll look at tomorrow's series finale in a second, but let's go around the division. We like to do that here on the show. So let's start with the New York Mets, who took on the Chicago Cubs tonight. And the Cubs really got to Zach Wheeler early, 14-3. Anthony Rizzo was in the leadoff spot, and he hit a home run. Ian Happ hit a grand slam. Wheeler didn't make out of the second inning tonight. John Lester, just a good 7 innings, 1 run, 5 hits, struck out 10. So like we said, the Nationals now 9.5 ahead of the Mets. Mets host the Nats for 4 on Thursday. I'm actually going to one of those games on Thursday. So that should be a lot of fun. Miami was taking on the A's tonight at home, and they won 8-1. Jose Urena got the win to go to 5-2. 6 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts for him. Marcell Ozuna and Giancarlo Stanton went home runs. Stanton now up to 17 this season. Ozuna has 16. He's been really good for the Marlins this year. Nats are actually going to Miami next week for the first time this season. The Marlins are 28-35, and the Phillies right now in progress against the Red Sox, 3-3 in the bottom of the 10th inning. Phillies have their lone RBIs in this game. They scored on a 2-run homer by Aaron Altair in the 3rd inning against David Price. Michael Saunders has an RBI, and for the Red Sox, Mitch Moreland, a solo shot against Ben Lively. Andrew Benintendi an RBI. So 3-3 bottom 10 right now as the Phillies try to avoid another tough loss to the Red Sox. I think they had one of those last night. Not been a good year for Philadelphia. So let's go around the minor leagues. And before we do that, Seth asked, do you think eventually the Nats will make a bullpen move for a closer or a reliever? I did. I think you have to. And Mike Rizzo, I think, knows that. He's going to have the pieces. And I think you're going to see them at least make one move, if not more. They made the move for Trevor Gott. You can make the case Eric Fetty could be coming, not real soon, but make the case somewhere down the line in the next month or two. Wouldn't be surprised by that, as he got the call up to AAA Syracuse today. So I think they're still going to look internally for now. You're going to wait, I think, at least until after the All-Star break, I think, is when the price gets down a little bit. You're going to start to hear more trade rumors because the draft is ending. So teams will focus more and they'll send scouts out there. But I do think they need to add an arm or two. The problem is Ron talked about last night, and him and I talk about this off the air. There just isn't an elite closer this year. There is no Andrew Millers. There is no Aroldis Chapmans. There is no, I would even say there Mark Melancon, because I don't think he's the same pitcher as he was last year. And it's a much different situation with his contract compared to last year. So there's just not really a lot of great options I have to get right now. You can't say give me David Robertson right now because I don't think he's that dominant. Kelvin Herrera has not been as good in the 9th inning as he's been in setup roles. You have to see, I think, maybe as more teams fall out, which options become available. Maybe somebody comes available that nobody thought right now. There's always those options. So I do think they'll add a guy or two. Nick Rizzo's done that the last couple of years, so no reason to think otherwise. I would just halt the brakes on it being right now. I think they're going to still look internally, and I think that's the right call. And Gott, maybe it'll help him out. He was throwing 94, 95, but he just has to throw strikes. It's been an issue with him. He was pitching well at Syracuse, so you have to hope he keeps that success going. And they have good arms in the minor leagues. I would keep an eye, Seth, on a guy like Fetty would be one, but also a guy like talked about who's not in the 40, but maybe makes an impression. Wander Suero's been pitching well at Syracuse. I wrote about him last week. He's a guy that you might want to keep an eye on. So let's go to another bat. Yeah, I'm not sure about the bat right now. They'll try to stay, I guess, when Jason Worth comes back. The bench has been pretty good. I like the whole Raybird and Goodwin combo for right now. And I think when you look at Stephen Drew, I think as far as utility guy, Adam Lynn's been great. I don't see a huge need for a bench. I don't think you're going to pay for a bat. I'm not going to go out and get a Lorenzo Cain or a Hosmer or Moustakas. Maybe I'll go out there and add like a bench bat or two. Maybe you even go to the August deadline for that. We're a long way from saying this team needs a bat. Their offense is great without it. I mean, you got Ryan Zimmerman with 3 more hits tonight. He's hitting 372. Daniel Murphy's hitting 345. Harper up to 316. As long as his middle of the order is healthy, Seth, I don't really think they need a bat right now. It's just they're that locked in, all 3 of them, and it's fun to watch every night. So let's go around the minors, and only one game in progress right now. It's game 2 of a doubleheader. Syracuse taking on Pawtucket. And the Chiefs are down 6-1. They only have 1 hit, so not a good night for the Chiefs offense. Wilmer Diffo is actually playing at Syracuse tonight. Kyle McGowan gave up 5 earned runs and 5 innings of work. Matt Grace in the game now for the Chiefs. Lone hit is by Caleb Ramsey in game 2. The Chiefs lost game 1 earlier tonight, 7-1, so not been a good night for Syracuse at all. Lone RBI coming from Clint Robinson, who's got 38 this season. How about Joey Butler with 4 walks at the plate? Greg Ross took the loss, 2 runs over 5 innings, walked 3, struck out 1. Austin Adams gave up 2 unearned runs in an inning. Another guy I would watch in the minors. Rough night for Rafael Martin, gave 3 runs without getting an out. So the Chiefs in danger, dropping to 19-41. Harrisburg had a rough night at the plate as well. They lost to the Akron Rubber Ducks 3-0. Complete game loss for Jaron Long. 8 innings, 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 Ks. His ERA down to 2.73 through 105 pitches. So in the heat in the Northeast, I mentioned, that's pretty good. Nobody with a multi-hit game tonight. Senators dropped to 25-37. Potomac got lost to Boys Creek. I guess that's their name, the Astros affiliate, 5-1. RBI here from Matthew Page in this one, but Luis Reyes took the loss. 5 innings, 3 runs, 7 hits, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks. Potomac drops to 30-35. Hagerstown gets rained out against Kannapolis. They're right now a game and a half up on their division with a week to go, so they're in line trying to make the playoffs. They have double headers tomorrow and Thursday. So it's always interesting because you got 4 games in 2 days. So if you're in Kannapolis, go watch Hagerstown. They get a chance to really do something special and try to make the playoffs with all their injuries that they've had this year. Remember, Auburn starts up on Monday. Remember, the MLB draft is going on. We talked about a little bit early last night about Seth Romero and Will Crow, the 2 first-round picks. I wrote about each of them, and Chris Lacey talked about his take on the picks. I didn't get a chance to talk about it last night. We had a lot of bullpen talk last night, and I understand that. I'm not the biggest fan of the Romero pick. Of course, he's got those off-the-field concerns. You hope that he's changed as a person. You hope that he's learned from those mistakes. I'm interested to see how once the Nats do sign him, what comments he makes about those mistakes, because there were multiple mistakes. It's not he had his first chance, the second chance with Houston, eventually got kicked off the team. And Houston was a team that could have made it to the Super Regionals, maybe even the College World Series if he was in their rotation. So I'm interested to see how he comments on that. But it's a high-risk pick by Rizzo, but to get him at 25, I understand why they made the pick. And Will Crow's a really strong starter out of South Carolina. The Nats love taking those SEC pitchers. We saw that last year with Dane Dunning. So Will Crow made sense in the second round. And Chris Klein, the scouting director, talked about it. They loved that he was there at 65. You don't see it often. They continued that trend today. A lot of pitchers taken on day 2. Only one position player was taken. That was Cole Freeman, the second baseman at LSU. He went in the 4th round. You could actually watch Cole Freeman at LSU. They're going to be taking on Florida State in the College World Series Saturday night at 8 o'clock. I believe that's on ESPN. And then the 5th round, they took Brigham Hill out of Texas A&M. They're taking on Louisville and Brendan McKay Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. So that should be a fun matchup. Some other pitchers, they took Nick Rackett from William & Mary, who walks a lot of guys but could be a good bullpen arm. Kyle Johnson out of Texas. Jackson Tetrolt from the State College of Florida Manatee. Interesting college. Jared Brasher from Samford. Alex Troop from Michigan State, left-hander. And how about this pick? And we talked about it a little bit on the telecast. Trey Turner. No, not T-R-E-A, T-R-E-Y. Trey Turner from Missouri State. He goes in the 10th round. He was a pitcher and outfielder, but he had Tommy John back in April. So I guess Nat's taking Tommy John surgery, guys. No surprise. But interesting story on the whole Trey Turner thing. But he goes out of Missouri State. I have more on these picks coming up tomorrow. You'll see some cool stats on these guys. Interesting one on Cole Freeman that I think you'll enjoy. Or maybe not, but I think you'll find it interesting. Let's put it that way. But you'll find that tomorrow. Ron's going to have more on Eric Fetty's promotion. He did not pitch tonight, it looks like, so maybe you'll see him tomorrow. Remember, you can watch if you have MLB.tv, put on the Chiefs games, listen to Kevin Brown and Eric Galante on the Chiefs broadcast and watch Eric Fetty. I mean, that's one way you got to get to learn about these players. Yeah, that's definitely. And I'd love to hear your opinion, Seth, as always. That's why we have the DoDcast over here. So let's look at tomorrow's matchup. It is a 4 o'clock game tomorrow, so adjust your schedules accordingly. It's Tanner Roark getting the ball for the Nats, 6-3 with a 3.87. He goes against Julio Teheran for the Braves. Teheran 5-4 with a 5.08 ERA. Interesting matchup, and of course the Nats are very familiar with Teheran, as the Braves are very familiar with Roark. And I was on the DoDcast for Roark's start on Friday. Was not a big fan of it. Again, he was one of those guys that put runners on every inning, and it finally caught up to him. 2 runs on 11 hits over 6. He's had more than 12 fly ball outs in 4 of his last 5 starts. And in this kind of weather, it's still going to be a little bit hot tomorrow, a little bit humid, especially at 4 o'clock. I worry about what his start might be like if a lot of balls get in the air. He's got to get the ball down in the zone to be successful, because Matt Adams is hitting the ball well in this series. So is Matt Kemp. So the heart of the order for the Braves has done a good job. So they need Roark to sort of bounce back from a really, I would call it a bad outing he had on Friday, despite only giving up 2 runs. And Roark has not faced the Braves yet this season. So it'll be a first for him. Matt Kemp, 4-for-11 with a couple of home runs. Nick Markakis has a couple of home runs as well. Brandon Phillips, 4-for-9 with a home run. As for Julio Teheran, of course, Bryce Harper loves hitting against Julio Teheran. No surprise there. But Teheran had a good start against the Mets last time out. 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. Teheran's 2-0 over his last 4 starts. But he did have a rough one against Cincinnati a couple of games ago. He gave 7 runs over 5, and he's given up a lot of home runs. 10 home runs over his last 5 starts. So if you're the Nats and it's hot out and they've been crushing the ball this series, you got to take advantage when he makes a mistake. And Bryce Harper, again, 455, 7 home runs, 17 RBIs. Zimmerman's got 2 homers and 7 runs batted in. Murphy's got a homer and 6 runs batted in, 8 for 22. So the Nats love hitting this guy. And Jose Lobaton loves hitting this guy. Jose Lobaton struggles to hit anybody, it seems like. And he's 7 for 15 with 2 homers. So a day game after a night game, you'll probably see Lobaton tomorrow. But maybe he gets a couple hits to help you out. But I like the Nats' chances in this game, not because I like what Roark might do, because I want to see how he bounces back against Atlanta, but I just like the matchup against Teheran. The Nationals seem to see him better than they do a lot of pitchers. Look at Teheran's numbers. He has faced the Nats one time this year, gave 7 runs, 7 hits, and a pair of home runs. I think he gave up the grand slam to Harper, if I'm not mistaken. At SunTrust Park last month, or not last month, in April. Which, by the way, Ryan Zimmerman coming back against a knuckleballer, smart move by Dusty Baker, considering how he's hit 3 home runs against him this year. So that's our DoDcast for tonight. Again, Ron's got something on Eric Fetty tomorrow. I've got more on day 2 of the draft. Remember, you can watch day 3 of the draft. We won't have a huge write-up on it because it's rounds 11 through 40, but you never know what diamonds in the rough the Nats might find. That's on noon.mb.com if you want to watch that. And I will have 5 to watch for the Mets series on Thursday. Looks to be an interesting series. National game on Thursday on MLB Network. National game, I think ESPN has it on Friday. And it's always exciting when those 2 teams get together. Nats swept the Mets last time at Citi Field. We'll see if that happens again, especially with Yoenis Cespedes back. They did just put Asdrubal Cabrera on the DL. So the Mets continue to have those injuries that you have to keep an eye on going forward. Thanks for joining again, Seth. We always do appreciate when you comment. And we want to hear from you all the time. So if you do enjoy the show, send us a comment. And we are looking for more writers. So if you're interested in joining our team, we would love to have you and hear your opinions. So if you want to join our fan-sided team here, just apply on the site today. We have links to the application on some of our articles. I believe you can go to fanside.com/apply if you want to, just say you want to join District on Deck, and we'd love to have you. Follow us on Twitter at District on Deck. DistrictOnDeck.com is the site for you. You can also Like us on Facebook. We got all our articles there. We put the DoDcast there. It's a lot of fun. So Ron will be with you tomorrow, and Ron will be with you Thursday. I believe it's Gio against Steven Matz on Thursday. So he'll be with you for that. For those two games, I'll be back with you on Friday and on Saturday for the Mets series. So, man, I live in New York, so I get to watch on SNY, which is always fun. So remember, if you're with me for those games and if you hear something cool Bob and FP are saying, or Charlie and Dave, and I don't get to hear it, just let me know. I love that. We love interacting with you on Twitter. That's the most important thing. So from all of us, District on Deck, for Ron, for Drew, for Frank, for Chris, and for all of our District on Deck team, I'm Ricky Keeler saying hope you have a great night, and Ron will see you back here tomorrow afternoon for the series finale, the rubber match between the Braves and the Nats.